exactly what does the mayor's special budget advisory committee do? Or what will they be expected to do?
Last year, I had hoped to initiate a wide-ranging, with respect to topics, and hopefully an inclusive discussion with respect to the numbers of people from within the community who would look at, think about, and talk about the city's budget. And as some may recall, I highlighted the fact that we are spending more than we are bringing in revenues, making a difference by going to our general fund balance. The budget process that begins within the administrative part of the city now, actually, I mean, the budget departments and department heads are working on their budgets right now. They will have requests to the comptroller towards I believe mid-September, and the mayor proposes a budget, I believe, by mid or the latter part of October, and then the actual budget process is condensed down into about 6 weeks, the budget process of the council. And it's difficult to have a wide-ranging discussion in the regular budget process. So I proposed having a committee that would consist of persons nominated by each councilor in an effort to have it as wide, as inclusive a group as possible. I asked, and I recommended to the council, and the council approved, having the 4 largest political parties nominate someone, plus each of the unions that the city has contracts with were invited, and they did, in fact, accept to nominate somebody to serve on that committee. I also asked the Chamber of Commerce to nominate someone. The Chamber of Commerce did nominate someone, however, that person had already been nominated by somebody else. So I've asked the Chamber to submit a second name. And hopefully this will serve as a forum to talk about what services are desired, and more importantly, what services people are willing to pay for. Because right now, the city is providing more services than we are taking in revenue to pay for it. And at some point in the future, when that general fund balance runs out, we would have a severe problem. So one of the things that I would like to see this committee do, reflective of the community, is have a very candid conversation about, are we willing to pay for various things? And if we as a community want certain services, we've got to be able, if we want a package of services that hypothetically goes from A to Z, we have to be willing to pay for that. Because when the rainy day fund is exhausted, then it will be a catastrophe to try to balance the budget in that one year. Are we providing services that there isn't support for? And support comes down to willingness to pay taxes. If the community wants services that it's not willing to pay taxes for, it doesn't really want those services. So I think we need to have a candid conversation about those issues.
So this would be just like a general, basically a melting pot of the citizens recommended by what you just said, the Chamber of Commerce, everybody in the ward, put their names in, and just to get a general idea. Is that what it is?
The hope is that it is fairly representative of the community, and that it can serve as a forum for a discussion, not simply among the members of the committee. I mean, these meetings will be open to the public, and I think the public will be invited to participate, subject to it is a committee, it is operating pursuant to Robert's rules. We would want to maintain order, just like any other meeting, and have a discussion about what it is that we want the city to do, and are we willing to pay for it.
And what sacrifices the city would be willing or have to make in order to stay within our budget.
Well, I mean, it's a simple, in simple terms, it's a simple equation between services cost money. You fund those services from three basic sources: state aid, sales tax revenue, and real property tax. State aid, given the chaos in Albany, is, what's a good word for that?
I think chaos was good.
Okay, I mean, we are funded for the current year through our state aid. What happens for 2011 is anybody's guess. If the Senate can't figure out how to do the people's business, that's $1.8 million of state aid revenue that we might or might not be able to rely on. Sales tax revenues for calendar year 2009 are down. They're down about 7.6%. And that, when you annualize that, that comes to about $329,000. So our revenue, we know we can anticipate, we can estimate now that our revenues might be down for calendar year 2009 by $329,000. Now, there's been some prior communication from me to the council pointing out some of our revenue shortfall projections, and I was speaking today with Joan Sikorsky about, okay, let's make some assumptions about our revenue, and let's start thinking about where we would reduce our expenses in this year, in this approved budget, to try to make sure that we stay in balance. So there are some difficult choices coming. And it comes down to cut services, increase real property taxes. You can't have more services and reduce property taxes. Anybody who tells you that is not telling you the truth. Frankly, in the budget process of 2008 for the 2009 budget, I received a small number of phone calls from people who said, cut, 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 don't raise taxes. County Council made some cuts in services. They reduced what could have been a larger income, real property tax increase by a substantial amount. But that was done by cutting into the muscle of services that are provided to the people of the city of Oneida. I didn't get one person, not one person, contacted me in November or December saying that they opposed cutting those expenses. In calendar year 2009, when those cuts are being perceived, people are complaining about it. So we have to deal with these financial realities. They are very challenging and difficult times. And part of the process is educating our residents. Part of the process is finding out what they will and will not support. What do they want? Do they want more police protection? More police protection costs money. Do they want, and I could list 20 different things, and I've had a number of people call me and complain about, well, this cut or that cut. I said, are you willing to pay more in real property taxes? Are you willing to support higher property taxes to fund those services? And some people say yes, and some people say no.